Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and today we're talking about racism. It's a big topic in Australia. I really want to get into it, and let's talk about how it hurts the Chinese and the Asian communities, right? This isn't about playing the victim. It's about telling the truth. A lot of people go through this, but they don't always feel safe talking about it. Look, if you're Asian in Australia, you probably already know that racism isn't always loud or violent. Sometimes it's small comments, sometimes it's about being ignored. Sometimes it's people assuming things about you completely without asking. Racism in Australia didn't just start with COVID. This country had a few laws, especially had one law called the White Australia Policy, which stopped non-white people from coming to live here. Now, that law didn't end until, get this, 1970s. It told people very clearly that Australia was meant for white people only. Even though that law is completely gone, the feeling behind it hasn't really disappeared. Like, you can still feel the vibe of that White Australia policy. Now, mix that with history with fear, right? Fear of change, fear of losing jobs. Another one is fear of China. When the news blames China,
this year,
every disease has ever came from China, homie. Everything comes from China. It's a disgusting.
Some people start blaming anyone who looks Chinese. So if they're not from China, even if they were born in Australia, it doesn't matter. Anyone who is Asian will get blamed. So when COVID-19 happened, oh my God, racism got much, much worse. People were attacked, yelled at, spat on, not because they had COVID, but because they looked Asian. Like in shops, on the streets, on public transport. Even third generation Australians who had never been to China were treated badly. The media made things even worse. Headlines about, let me try to remember, like Chinese spies or China buying our land and foreign interference were everywhere. And that was what I called the China hate season. And suddenly, people speaking Mandarin in public made people feel suspicious. Some people started to look at all Chinese Australians like they were enemies. I mean, that's not fair. That's racism, right? And this year, right, we're in 2025. It's still happening. In May, right, a Chinese couple in Sydney were attacked by a group of teenagers. I'm sure you've heard of it. The woman was badly hurt. Just days later, another woman, attacked 4 Asian women in different suburbs. All of this happened within 1 week. This is not a small problem. We need to look into this. This is a big issue in this country. Now, this kind of racism shows up in other ways too. So in job interviews, when looking for a house, at school, online sometimes. I mean, it's not violent, but it still makes people feel like they don't really belong. And let me tell you, it hurts. It hurts not only in physically, but it hurts your mental health. It makes people feel like they have to hide their culture, that their language or their pride is, it's so bad. Some younger people even stop speaking in their language at home or use English names to fit in. It happened to me. My Turkish name is Umut, but my mum gave me David because people made fun of me. It's not real acceptance. That's just pretending. So why do we still have racism in this country? And why do they deny it? Well, because we haven't dealt with the past. Because some people still think racism isn't a problem here. Because some news and radio stations keep spreading bloody fear. They keep, spreading fear that, fear makes money. That's what they think. Oh, fear gets views. Fear wins votes. And some politicians and media use that fear to get power. But people are starting to speak up. Young Asians are raising their voices, making art, making videos, telling their stories, and that is powerful. When we are not visitors, we are not just guests, We are not second-class citizens. We are Australian, fully and proudly. That's what they're saying. And it's great, and we need more of that. And look, and until everyone feels safe and accepted in this country, we're going to keep talking about this. Not because we hate Australia, but because we love it and we believe it can be much, much better. You know, it's such a big issue in our country that a single video would definitely not make any bloody difference. But as a person that comes from immigrant families, you know, my mum and dad, they come from Turkey and they have European background. Mum's got a bit of Italian. We came here, well, I was born here, but they came here telling me that they were not welcome at the beginning. And look, I understand it's hard to have people come into your country, but you have to understand, we are Australian and we are one. I was going to say we are many, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like, the point is that we are all Aussies and we welcome people from all over the world, and we don't want people to think we are racist, but we do have a problem and we need to fix that. That's it, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you liked this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and tell me what you think. Bye, guys.